The movie opens in Mexico, where two men are scavenging in the ruins of an old church. One of them stumbles upon something buried beneath the floorboards, an ancient spear wrapped in a Nazi flag. When he pulls it out, the flag tears, revealing a spearhead still stained with blood. As the man holds it, his eyes turn red and his body becomes possessed by a dark power. Without a word, he starts walking with purpose, unstoppable. Even when hit by a car, the impact doesn't faze him. The car flips and crashes, but he keeps walking, seemingly invincible, with the spear of destiny in his hand. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, inside an apartment, a priest has called in John Constantine to perform an exorcism. A terrified family huddles together while a young girl lies on the bed, her body thrashing violently. Constantine steps in calmly, cigarette in hand, and opens his tools, a cross, a flask of holy water, and a mirror covered in symbols. As he approaches the girl, he notices that the demon inside her isn't just trying to scare them, it's trying to escape into the human world, something demons aren't supposed to be able to do. He begins the ritual, pressing the cross against her forehead as her body contorts. He orders one of the men in the room to hold up the mirror, then forces the demon to reveal itself. The creature inside the girl's body screams and claws at her skin. Constantine's Latin chants grow louder until the reflection in the mirror warps, revealing the demon's face trapped inside it. With one final command, he smashes the mirror out of the window, sending the demon's image flying out with it before the mirror crashes to the street below. The girl collapses, finally freed, and Constantine lights another cigarette, relieved that it's over. After leaving the apartment, Constantine meets Father Hennessy, a nervous priest who works as an informant between the mortal world and the supernatural. Hennessy warns him that demonic activity has been increasing lately, something strange is happening, something breaking the balance between heaven and hell. Constantine listens but brushes it off, trying not to show how concerned he really is. Not long after, Constantine starts coughing violently, blood on his sink. He goes to see his doctor, who tells him the truth: his lungs are ruined from years of chain smoking. He doesn't have much time left to live. Even with his supernatural knowledge, there's no cure for what's eating him from the inside. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the city, we meet Angela Dodson, a Los Angeles detective. She's seen walking through a mental hospital where her twin sister Isabel has been staying. The doctors tell her that Isabel has been unstable and been trying to self-harm herself, but Angela doesn't believe that her sister would ever take her own life. She looks through the security footage and watches, horrified, as Isabel climbs to the top of the hospital and jumps to her death. The video captures her falling, and before she hits the ground, she seems to whisper something under her breath. That evening, the rain falls softly over the city as John makes his way into a quiet church. He walks towards Gabriel, the angel. Gabriel is one of the few celestial beings allowed to move freely between heaven and earth. John looks tired, weak from his coughing fits, but determined. He tells Gabriel about his terminal lung cancer and questions why God would let this happen after everything he's done, like sending demons back to hell, saving the innocent, keeping the balance between heaven and hell. Gabriel listens calmly, almost detached, and reminds him that his actions don't earn him salvation. It's not about what he does, but why he does it. Gabriel explains that God sees into the heart, and he knows John isn't acting out of selflessness or faith, he's doing it to buy his way into heaven, to save himself from eternal damnation. Gabriel says that kind of motivation isn't redemption, it's desperation. Frustrated, John insists that it isn't fair. He's fought for years, risked his life, and still there's no guarantee of heaven waiting for him. Gabriel's tone hardens as she reminds him that his lung cancer is the result of his own choices, his free will. He's been slowly killing himself with every cigarette, and those who take their own lives cannot enter heaven. John looks at Gabriel and tells her that she's the one who should go to hell since she's a half-breed walking among humans, and storms out of the church. Later that same evening, Detective Angela walks into the very same church, and approaches Father David, a priest she knows well. She's there to plead for her sister Isabel to be given a proper Catholic funeral, but Father David tells her the church has already made its decision: those who take their own life cannot be blessed. Angela insists that Isabel was a devout Christian woman and would never have taken her own life, but Father David gently tells her that the church must follow its rules, and his decision is final. That night, Angela sits alone watching the hospital security footage of her sister's death once more. The grainy video shows Isabel on the rooftop, but before she jumps, Angela leans closer to the screen and realizes Isabel said one word before falling: Constantine. Angela freezes and writes the name down, confused but desperate to understand what her sister meant. Elsewhere in the city, Constantine goes to the club called Papa Midnight, when his driver, Chaz, a young apprentice who looks up to him, pleads to go inside with him, saying he's never been there before, but John refuses. He tells Chaz it's too dangerous and heads in alone. Inside, the club is alive with strange energy. The crowd is filled with half-breeds hiding in human form, moving together under dim lights. It's a place where both sides can exist without conflict, under strict rules of neutrality. John finds Papa Midnight, a powerful man who once fought in the war between heaven and hell but now runs this neutral ground. Constantine tells him about the possession he witnessed earlier, a demon trying to physically cross over into their world, as that shouldn't be possible. Midnight listens but insists that the balance between heaven and hell still holds, that what John's describing can't happen. Soon, their conversation is interrupted when Balthazar, a half-breed demon, walks in with a smug grin. He looks at Constantine like a predator, reminding him that his time is running out. He knows about John's cancer, and tells him that when he finally goes to hell, every demon he's ever sent back will be waiting to tear his soul apart. Suddenly, Constantine starts coughing violently. Unable to catch his breath, he quickly leaves. Later that night, Constantine is back in his apartment when there's a knock at the door. It's Angela. She's found him after researching the name her sister spoke before dying. She tells him about Isabel's death and how she believes something or someone made her jump from the rooftop. Constantine listens quietly but offers no comfort, only skepticism. Angela, frustrated with his cold attitude, stands up to leave, but Constantine follows her out into the street. As they walk, Constantine suddenly stops. Something feels wrong. He looks around, and the wind picks up. Soon, the streetlights begin to flicker and shut off. Angela senses it too. Constantine quickly unwraps one of his tools, a piece of cloth soaked in holy oil, and lights it on fire. The flames burst brightly, cutting through the darkness. Demonic shapes hidden in the shadows screech and burn away as the fire spreads. Later, they return to Angela's apartment. Constantine tells her there's a way to find out if Isabel really took her own life by looking for her soul in hell. He sets up a ritual. A bowl of water sits on the floor. He puts his feet inside the water, and focuses on Angela's cat, which serves as the link. The room darkens, and the water ripples violently. Suddenly, Constantine is pulled into hell. He finds himself standing in a scorched ash-filled version of Los Angeles. Everything burns. The ground trembles beneath him, and demons move in the distance. He pushes forward until he sees Isabel. She's staring at him and takes off the tag around her wrist, letting it float toward him. Constantine runs after it, reaching out as the demons close in. The moment he grabs it, he's pulled back into the real world, gasping for air. He looks at Angela and drops the tag into her hands. It's her sister's hospital ID, scorched but real. Angela breaks down, realizing her sister's soul truly is in hell. Later that night, Angela gets a call about a new crime scene and brings Constantine with her. When they arrive, the scene is chaotic. Father Hennessy has been found dead. The police say he drowned himself in alcohol, but Constantine knows better. He kneels beside the body and notices something carved into Hennessy's hand, a strange symbol, one he's never seen before. The next day, Constantine and Angela return to the hospital where Isabel died. John believes Isabel left something behind, some kind of clue, but only Angela can find it. He tells her to think like her sister, to imagine where she would hide something only Angela could understand. Angela looks around the room and suddenly remembers how she and Isabel used to leave messages for each other, on the window glass. She walks to it and breathes on the surface. Faint writing appears, Corinthians 7:1. Soon, John immediately calls Beeman, his trusted occult researcher, and tells him to read the passage from the Bible from hell, since their regular Bible doesn't have that verse. Beeman flips through his forbidden text and reads aloud, "The sins of the father will only be exceeded by the sins of the sons." Constantine listens carefully, realizing the verse could be referring to the devil's own son. But he's confused, as Lucifer can't cross over into the human world. Beeman continues reading, and says that the devil's son can cross over with the help of twin sisters, one psychic and one in the physical world. As he reads, Beeman suddenly senses something behind him. He tries to warn John, but the phone line cuts off. Moments later, Constantine and Angela arrive at Beeman's workshop. They walk inside, and the sight freezes them in place. Beeman's lifeless body lies on the chair, covered in hundreds of flies. The next morning, Angela tells Constantine that after everything she's seen, the footage, the symbols, and the deaths, she's starting to believe what the Bible from hell said. She admits that she and Isabel were both born with spiritual gifts. As children, they could see things others couldn't. But she was terrified of what she saw. Over time, she convinced herself it wasn't real, that it was all in her head. She buried the part of her that could see the supernatural, pretending to be normal. Isabel, on the other hand, never denied her gift. She embraced it. That's why she was labeled insane and sent to mental institutions while Angela was spared. Angela's voice shakes as she says she feels guilty for abandoning her sister, for choosing denial over truth. With tears in her eyes, she pleads with John to help her regain her powers. She wants to use them to understand what really happened to Isabel, and to help her soul find peace. Constantine looks at her, seeing her desperation, then agrees. They prepare for a dangerous ritual to reopen her psychic connection. In the bathroom, Angela steps fully clothed into a bathtub filled with water. Constantine tells her to relax, to let go of her fear. As she lies back, He places a hand on her chest and begins muttering an incantation. Angela starts to sink into the water, but John keeps holding her down. Her body begins to struggle, her eyes open in panic as she can't breathe. The air in the room tightens, and suddenly everything stops. Soon, the bathtub explodes outward, water flying across the room and crashing against the walls. Angela gasps for air and sits upright, her eyes filled with a new awareness. She then rushes to Beeman's scene of death. She walks around the room silently, scanning every inch until she kneels down and picks something off the floor. It's a small coin, Balthazar's coin. Later, John and Angela make their way to Balthazar's penthouse apartment. Without a word, Constantine explodes the room and he pulls out a vial and splashes holy water across the room. The liquid hits Balthazar's skin, and it begins to burn away his human disguise, revealing the charred demonic flesh underneath. John slips on a pair of blessed brass knuckles and punches Balthazar across the face, each hit searing with holy energy. The demon cries out, his body smoking from the blows. John threatens him that he'll send him straight to hell if he doesn't talk. Terrified, Balthazar finally breaks. He tells John that the Spear of Destiny has been found, the ancient weapon that pierced Christ's side, and that it will be used to bring about the birth of the devil's son. That's the plan, the event all the strange possessions have been leading to. John steps back, and leaves the apartment with Angela, but as they reach the hallway, something unseen strikes. A violent gust tears through the corridor, and Angela is suddenly yanked backward, dragged into the wall as if by invisible hands. John screams her name and runs after her, but she's already gone, pulled through the building and vanished into the night. Meanwhile, Angela is thrown into the same room where her sister died. She lands near the pool where Isabel once drowned herself. A man steps out behind her and Angela fires her gun, but the bullets do nothing. By the time John and Chaz arrive, the place is silent. They split up to cover more ground, weapons ready. Down below, Angela is struggling as the possessed man drowns her. John and Chaz rush into the room. For a moment, they see a body floating motionless in the water. John dives in to pull her out, only for it to be the man from his vision. Suddenly, behind them, Angela bursts out of the water, possessed. She lunges at John, and forces him under. Chaz shouts a prayer and helps John drag her out of the water. They lay her on the ground, both of them praying over her as her body convulses. The demon's voice snarls through her lips, resisting every word. Soon, the demon seems to leave her body, only for them to see it moving in Angela's stomach. Chaz begins praying louder, commanding the spirit to leave. Suddenly, an invisible force grabs Chaz and hurls him up and down in the room, killing him. John begins preparing another ritual, desperate to end it, when the air changes again. Gabriel appears and stops him. John instantly realizes she's behind all of it. Gabriel smiles faintly, as she explains that she's not helping the devil, she's helping God, in her own way. She says the world has become corrupt, that humanity is undeserving of God's love. To her, destruction is the only path to purity. She wants the devil's son to be born, to cleanse the world through chaos. She admits she envies how much God loves humans, weak and sinful as they are. Her eyes are filled with hatred as she tells John that angels were made to serve, yet humans are loved more. She then blows John away with her breath. Gabriel then kneels beside Angela, placing her hand over the woman's stomach. Putting the demon inside Angela and about to fulfill the prophecy. Constantine, broken and out of strength, looks up toward the ceiling. He looks to God for forgiveness. Whispering a prayer, he takes a piece of glass and slashes his wrists open. Blood pools around him as he collapses. Just as Gabriel begins the final act to release Lucifer's son into the world, everything stops. Lucifer himself appears and smiles down at Constantine, saying he's come to collect his soul personally. Barely alive, John tells him he'll go willingly, but first, he has a deal to offer. He tells Lucifer that Gabriel wants to release his own son onto the world, to take his throne and rule hell in his place. Lucifer pauses, intrigued. John tells him that if he saves Angela and stops the ritual, he can take his soul right after. Lucifer smirks and agrees. In an instant, he turns to Gabriel, who's frozen mid-action, and pulls Angela out the way. Lucifer then with a touch, stops Gabriel completely. The unborn creature within Angela's body vanishes, and Lucifer burns Gabriel's wings off, condemning her to walk the earth as a fallen angel too. He turns back to John, but he asks one last thing. He asks Lucifer to release Isabel's soul from hell, to let her finally cross into heaven. Lucifer studies him, amused but impressed. He agrees, because a soul like John's is too valuable to lose. Lucifer then drags John, but suddenly, John's body grows impossibly heavy. A blinding golden light fills the room. God has intervened. John's selfless act, offering his soul for another, has redeemed him. But Lucifer won't allow it. Furious at being tricked, he grabs John's chest and tears the cancer out of his lungs, healing him completely. He wants John to live, because sending him to heaven would be too much of a reward. Lucifer leaves him there, alive and breathing. Later, Angela wakes up, and thanks John for saving her. Not long after, Gabriel appears, stripped of her divinity, now a fallen angel. She begs John to end her life, but he refuses. He only punches her once and walks away. Later, John hands the Spear of Destiny to Angela, telling her to hide it somewhere no one will ever find it. They stand there for a long moment, a hint of connection passing between them, but Angela chooses to walk away, keeping things professional. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more notifications. Until next time. See you soon.